Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It's been a week since we last dropped any episode of any podcast on the AW network, and I am delighted that we are back for the Hurdle the Line Week 17 review show. Joined with me, you would normally hear a wonderful little American accent, but at this point, unfortunately, Chapman can't be with us, needs must. So I have stepped in, but I am thankfully joined by the two people that everyone turns up for anyway, Tom and Ollie. How are we, gents?
Very
Very good.
good.
Very good.
Very nice to hear that. Yeah, that sounds good.
Fattened up after Christmas.
Yeah,
I'd be a cannibal's, treat right now. With how much I've fattened up over the last couple of days. Um,
literally.
just getting through this period between Christmas and New Year where no one
Yeah.
really knows what day it is.
Mm,
We're all just kind of stuffed with alcohol and
yeah,
leftover food. So
yeah.
getting there, we might be a bit lackadaisical, but we're here and we're ready to talk NFL.
Yeah,
Exactly.
love that. Love that description.
Well, before we get going, how was your Christmases? Did you get up to much?
Chilled one with the
Um,
family for me.
yeah, I mean, yeah, same as Oliver. I mean, chilled one with the family. Um, you know, t typical spiel. But then between Christmas and then now, I've been away in Forest of Dean with like a family sort of trip thing. So that was really nice. That was just super
Nice.
chilled.
Nice. Well, same for myself. I realized like looking back how Christmas as a parent is different to other. It's like I only have my daughter every other Christmas, and just realizing just how different these ones are when I do have her. Because since Tom off camera, I normally when I spend Christmas with my family, the number one thing I'm doing is when my mum buys me any of my siblings anything tech related, I have to set it up because I'm the one who knows how to plug an HDMI into things so I can do all the tech stuff. But when you've got a daughter, you're doing all the setup stuff. And I was doing all the setup stuff anyway for well, my brother got a VR headset. He set that up on his own, thankfully. But it's taking all the Barbies out of the wrappers and the boxes and opening all the board games and making sure all the people and doing all that, which I look back now and think the amount of action figures and little presents like that that I got when I was a kid and realised just how much effort or how much pressure my dad was put under like 4 hours after opening presents to get all that stuff sorted was immense. But other than that, can't complain. Can't complain. With that in mind as well, we're recording obviously on the 30th. It's New Year tomorrow. Well, New Year's Eve tomorrow. Have either of you got any special plans for the new year to see the new year in?
Drink away my sorrows as a Browns fan. This cursed 2024 for the Browns.
What about you, Tom?
Oh, say that again.
Have you got any interesting plans for tomorrow?
No. Well, I'm just hosting a bit of a house party, really. So fairly like chilled. Like, we're just gonna
Yeah.
have a few drinks and chill out, really. So, yeah,
Few drinks, police might get called. Just a chill
yeah.
one. Just a chilled one.
You're welcome to come on if you want.
Have either of you watched much football this week in general? I know all the bowl games in college have been going on and all that sort of stuff. Have you given much of it a go?
I've watched quite a lot of the NFL stuff, but as much as I could anyway, to be
Yeah,
fair.
yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
you can't keep up with all of it over Christmas. Like that's just mad.
No,
I
I
mean, I personally feel like I don't really like the NFL games on Christmas Day.
Hmm.
As someone that is an NBA fan and has been an NBA fan for a while, it's the NBA's day,
yeah.
and I don't care. Like they can show me the viewerships, and like obviously any NFL game is going to beat any NBA game, but I don't really care. Like I just feel like Christmas Day itself is for the NBA. So I out of protest, I didn't watch any of the Christmas Day games.
Oh, come on, man.
But you watched the Gavin and Stacey Christmas special though, yeah?
Well, I obviously watched the Gavin and Stacey Christmas special, and I
Fantastic.
also watched Fit the Wembanyama against New York to much despise of my family.
Well, the Gavin and Stacey Christmas special is the only one that I really cared about on that day. That and Wallace and Gromit. That's all I gave two craps about. Um,
Most
but
watched TV episode in British history, I believe,
I think
What?
so. Yeah.
with Gavin and Stacey.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was like 12 million or something.
Yeah, it don't surprise me. No spoil. We won't give no spoilers though, just in case anyone hasn't watched it and is wanting to. But it's been nearly a week, man. Get with it.
And
Yeah.
basically what you think happens happens. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah.
there's
Yeah.
not too many spoilers anyway.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Literally.
Um, but as we said, there was NFL football on this week, including two Christmas Day games. Got another question lined up for you in a minute, there, Tom. But it's week 17. Normally, well, up until a couple of years ago, the season is now over. The regular season is now over. It's done just before New Year. But with the added week 18 and the season being pushed back a little bit longer, we're now going into the last week of the regular season. That doesn't change the fact though that so much has been decided this week, so much was to play for this week. And although a lot of the games felt like a bit of a disappointment, felt like a bit of a because there were a lot of games with nothing to play for. But some of those games did not disappoint. I think the best way to do this is to look at the two playoff pictures and where
Yeah, yeah.
everything was and wasn't important. We'll start with the AFC. And Tom, just to get us going, I think this is where I want to start with the officially claimed number one seed in the AFC,
Mm,
the Kansas City Chiefs, who rocked
yes.
away on Christmas Day with a 29-10 win over the Steelers. Two questions in specifically for you right now, Tom.
Okay.
One, it was on Christmas Day. How
Yes.
easy was it for you to turn around to your family and say at 6 p.m., just by the like, listen, I've got to go now. I've got like something's happening. I need to, and also number one seed. How good does it feel to get that?
Um, I would say it wasn't too hard because, it wasn't like if I'd asked to put it on like the main TV, then people would have been like, not happy about that, or like I don't think my dad would have let me do that anyway. But it was that point where like we'd already eaten, we drank a lot, so we were just like kind of ready to mellow out and chill, and everyone was just chilling out. So I was like, I'm just gonna slink off now and watch the NFL on my phone or iPad or whatever, and that was fine. Like we all just chilled out, and yeah, no one really cared that much. So I was quite lucky about that. And then for the Chiefs, the number one seed, absolutely ecstatic about it. One of the best games the Chiefs have played all year. I know obviously the Steelers are on a downward trend a bit right now, but still, like the Chiefs just put them away. Clinical offense, really, really good defense as well. Forced some fumbles in there, interception on Russell Wilson as well. So I was really impressed with the performance, and then to get that another week's rest, before you have to then play, it's such an advantage in such an attritional league as well.
Exactly, exactly. And like you said, Mahomes' offense looked really, really good for the most part. Are we seeing have the Chiefs finally turned up? The offense turned up the way we said it could do towards the end of the
Yeah,
season. They'll
literally. I
turn
mean,
up.
I know they didn't score 30 points again, but like 29 points, and it wasn't like the Steelers didn't really do a whole lot in this game, to be honest. Yeah, they scored a touchdown, but like that was Russell Wilson rolling back the years, fair play to him. And the rest of it, like the Steelers were not good in this game.
Tom, sorry, Tom, no, Ollie. I know that at the end of the day, it's that age old the question that Gary Neville asked about City or Liverpool winning a title, watching the Ravens and the Steelers go up for the AFC North. But it's got to have felt good to have watch the Steelers just get smashed on Christmas Day.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I've said it all the last 6 weeks when everyone initially put the Steelers on the pedestal that they do every year. Oh yeah, they're going to be really good this, and no, they've proved that they are the pretenders that they are. But unfortunately, I think they might actually win a playoff game this year purely because they're going to be the fifth seed, and that means they're going to play the Texans, who are just as miserable as they are. So that's probably going to be the least exciting playoff game of the weekend when the weekend does come, wildcard weekend. But no, obviously to watch the Steelers lose is always great, no matter whether it's Christmas or not. Um, and Tom mentioned it. I do think it is worth just saying how utterly insane it is that a team is 15-1 and they haven't scored 30 points in a game all season. The only other teams that haven't done that, I think, are the Patriots, Raiders, and some other 3-14 team. It's like they're 15-1 and they haven't scored more than 30 points in a game. They've won like 13 of the games by one score. It's utterly insane. I don't understand how the hell they are 15-1. Just credit to them because yeah, it makes no sense.
Well, did you say more than 30 or 30?
Is it
No,
more than
they
Because they
haven't
30?
did hit
scored
30
more.
against
They
the
haven't scored
Panthers.
No, I think
30.
it's 30. I think it's, yeah, I think it's getting
I
to
think they've
30.
hit 29 a few times, but
Yeah.
Well, they got 30 against the Bucks and the Panthers,
yeah.
So it's
but
more than 30.
they've never gone over 30. So
Mm,
they've just hit the threshold of 30, but not gone over it once.
Yeah.
mental.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Um, we say what we want about Mike Tomlin. The man is the 9-8 or the 8-8, 9-7 streak is phenomenal. He
It
just
is.
passed the 9 wins into 10, and then it's a bit like, right, don't have to win anymore
Yeah.
because I'm no longer just a one game over. Since the 10th win, they've lost three in a row.
Mm.
Every year, man. Every year. I mean, they started 11-0 a couple of years back, and look how that ended.
Yeah, I saw something about that, Ollie, that they what was it, the fifth time in 8 years that the Steelers have lost like a 3 game stretch in the latter half of the season.
Mm.
Like they do this a lot. They
They do this
really
every
do.
year, and they fold in the playoffs and lose in the
Mm,
first round. They haven't won a
mm,
playoff
mm,
game since 2016. But as I said, I am very worried that streak is going to come to an end because
mm.
pretty, pretty likely that they are going to be the fifth seed,
And the Texans are
unless
so
the
bad as
Chargers win.
well.
And
They're just not a good team either.
yeah,
So
so yeah, unfortunately, they might finally win a playoff game, but I still won't give them any credit for it.
No. But just to get onto the actual kind of, I guess, some of the nitty-gritty on the game, Mahomes was 29 of 38 for 320 yards, three touchdowns, no interceptions. You had Travis Kelce, who we've all been waiting for this game from Travis Kelce for what feels like ages. 11 targets, 8 receptions, 84 yards. Xavier Worthy with 9 targets, eight receptions, 79 yards. Uh, Kareem Hunt. They
touchdowns for
weren't
both
a,
those guys too.
yeah, and Juju, no, Watson. I don't know why I went down that road then. You got Watson there with a touchdown as well, 2 receptions for 60 yards. Not as successful on the ground. Was so in your. Do you think this was pretty much won via that passing game in the air? Got going,
Yeah, I
got
think what's
rolling.
his name had a pretty good like yards per carry, maybe or like not yards per carry, but he was. I think Kareem Hunt was not too bad in this game, but like Pacheco was non-existent. Like he literally did nothing. Like he
Hunt
just.
had a touchdown, but other than that, he was 9 for 20 yards,
Oh really? And
two
how?
point 2.2 yards on average, and Prosecco was 6 for 18 for 3 yards on
Oh
average.
wow, so yeah, they just didn't rely on the run game in this game really. Like maybe one or two times, but like the majority of the time it was just heave the ball to someone. And
Yeah,
especially, with the Chiefs offense, like molding into this offense that can really work back with Hollywood Brown back because it means that then Worthy is free to do like as he pleases. Like he's got his own role, and he's kind of taken he's had to take on the role of what Hollywood Brown would in the squad for the majority of the season. And now that he's
yeah,
back and he's in the right position, like Xavier Worthy is cooking people. He's playing really really well. So that was really good to see.
yeah. Just trying to get it up here now. Where's it gone? Next, yeah, there we go. I was trying to just get the next gen, the passing map.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it was, well, who was the deep 40-yard bomb to? Oh, I guess it would probably show up here. It's like the longer,
Was that
is
not
it
Justin
Watson?
Watson?
Watson. Yeah,
I
yeah.
think it was Watson, right?
Um, Not a lot targeted. There was 2 targets beyond 20 yards, a handful beyond 15, and everything
Classic
else was
Mahomes.
down the middle, to the right,
Yeah,
within
yeah.
10 yards.
Dink and
It's
dunk merchant
Oi,
that we've all
but
come to know.
oi,
but clearly they've seen something there in.
mate, your team's like 3-14. Come on, give it a little bit of a rest.
Doesn't change the fact that he's a dink and dunk merchant, does it?
Nah, he's not a dink and dunk
He
merchant.
hasn't
Come on.
thrown a 40 plus yard pass in 4 years.
Actually, he did it earlier this season against the
Nah,
Chargers.
fake news.
67-yard pass.
Nah, fake news. Never happens.
Getting me riled up.
Gonna say, taking shots at my team, man. Whoa, whoa. But what did we do to hurt you? We let you guys win. We
And it
let
was
you.
so nice of you to do so.
We didn't try. We let you.
But clearly, there was a quite clear like, leave a lot of the safeties, leave a lot of that the DBs out,
Yeah.
attack just go over the line because
Mm,
again
mm,
that's a nasty line that they've got
yeah.
when it wants to be with TJ Watt.
Overrated.
And he
I,
was also, he was shut down in this game as well by Jawan Taylor. I know he had a few penalties and stuff, but he really held his own against TJ Watt in this game. Like, TJ Watt can be a game wrecker when he wants to be, of the highest variety. But he was really neutralized in the majority of this game.
Yeah, he's all right.
and with that, you now get the number one seed, and all roads to the Super Bowl will lead through Arrowhead.
Yes, it will.
So you can't like the it's the first number one seed now has well been locked. That hasn't been locked in the other conference, but as well in looking at the AFC playoff picture, a
Mm,
couple more playoff spots were
mm.
won this weekend. Included, there are still three teams actually that could make the playoffs,
Oh, okay.
Bengals, Broncos, and Miami.
Dolphins.
and Miami. Yeah,
Yeah, so
so
I was just going to say, so obviously Broncos win and they're in. If Broncos lose, Miami win, they're in.
Yeah.
Both of those lose and Bengals win, they're in.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's crazy scenarios.
But Broncos are obviously going to be playing against your backups. So,
Yeah.
but do you guys think? We spoke about it, Tom. We said that we
Mm.
don't. I don't think your Chiefs will want to play that Broncos team in the playoffs.
Mm.
Maybe you're thinking, let's let's try and keep them out the playoffs and maybe put Mahomes in there for a half.
Yeah, see, I actually do think they might do that. Like, I think they might be quite petty about it and might not
Mm.
be like, yeah, what we want Sean Payton to just beat us up. Like, I think they might want to, put a bit of a performance, as you say, for half. Like, leave the starters in for the first half, and then see what the backup guys can do. But yeah,
I think this is going to be a question that remains for a few games now going into next week. The Bills now can't finish above or below second seed. That
mm,
can't happen. So
Texans.
they have nothing to play for on Sunday next week. They have nothing. There's nothing that can change that via that. Uh, and then you've also got
Texans,
the Texans, who also have nothing. They can't finish
who
above.
funnily enough is who the Patriots and the Titans play next week. Obviously, Titans, Patriots, and Browns all on 13 right now. 1, 2, and 3 in the draft. Patriots and Titans going up against two teams that are probably going to be playing their backups. Meanwhile, obviously, the Browns will be playing the Ravens, who technically still, are playing for the division.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
they are,
So,
yeah.
so they will have their starters out there for sure. So you can short that as a guaranteed loss for the Browns. So
Mm.
whatever happens, whether the Titans or the Patriots can beat them teams backups, then we might have one of our teams with the number one pick this year.
Mm.
Yeah, but I was looking. I'm just looking at the. You look at some of those games though as well, where next week there will be teams with nothing to play for, and you ask that question: will they? Won't they? My answer will always be: well, who's got targets to hit, who's got roster
Mm,
bonuses that they're close to, who's got. So
yeah.
say Travis Kelce has a roster bonus where if he makes six more catches on the year, he gets an extra 200k. Well, they'll put him in for a couple of drives, and but chances are on both those, Mahomes might not need it, so it'll just be Carson Wentz, and it'll just be right. Target Kelsey, target Kelsey, target Kelsey. Get him that, get him out. Done. Um,
Well,
Yeah,
look
it
at
could be like that.
Saquon. He's obviously he's currently what 100 yards away from the record, but
yeah.
they've got nothing to play for. So
Who?
is he Saquon?
Oh, Saquon. Yeah, no.
Obviously, he's hit
Surely,
2K
surely
now,
they put
so
him in to
I
get
think
that though.
he's either 100 or like 90 something yards
He's
away from the record.
101 yards
Yeah,
away
there we
from
go. So
breaking Eric Dickerson's record from what 1983. It's insane.
the thing is, you just be thinking, you know what will happen. They'll put him in, he'll get 100 yards, and he'll get injured, and it's just like, just
Mm,
please, just please don't happen.
mm,
Or it'll be
true.
two, 3 yards off it, and then
Yeah,
get two tackles like behind the line of
Well,
scrimmage for
isn't that what
a
happened
loss
with
of
Barry
five.
Sanders? Like he could have run for way more that day, but they were like, "No, we're just gonna get it to here and then just win the game."
I don't think that Saquon will. I don't know if you all saw the clip earlier in the year when he was like 5 yards away from breaking his
Yes.
career record for the yards in a game, and Sirianni was asking if he wanted to go back in, and he was like, "Nah, just let the young guys play."
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
I
So I'm
remember
not
that.
sure if he'll be too bothered. I'm not sure he'll be
Mm,
banging the table to play. I
yeah,
know I would be. Of course, you would. A chance to basically immortalize yourself in the NFL record books.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You can't blame him for wanting to go out there if he
I,
does.
Mm,
I think going in for six to go get 6 yards to beat your own personal best in a single game is one thing, but going in to
Yeah,
do the NFL as a whole a historical record is another thing completely. Um, it's like doing the whole you want your if you're gonna get your personal best in a race, you don't want to do it when you're practicing and whatnot. You want to do it when you're out in a race that means something. But with the other games that meant something in the schedule this week, we had a blockbuster, or what by the sounds of it, I didn't get to watch it. What by the sounds of it was an absolute blockbuster in the Broncos and Bengals.
mm.
Finished 30-24 after overtime
yeah,
to the Bengals. Did either of you get much of this one in?
Yeah, yeah. I
yeah. I
watched it.
watched this one. Yeah,
What were the thoughts on the game?
You go, Ollie.
yeah. Just good win for the Bengals when it looked like they might lose it at points in this game. Obviously came back into the game. The lead changed a couple of times, and then at the end was really exciting. Obviously with the was it a touchdown the Bengals got at the end with about a minute and something left to go up by 7, and then credit to him, Bo Nix was able to drive down the field and hit Mims in the end zone with I think about a few seconds left to tie this game and take it into overtime. Obviously, it went into overtime, and the Broncos at this point, not that they were playing for a tie, but a tie would have got them into the playoffs as well. So it's not like they were exactly, gun blazing to win it. They were happy to be quite
Mm,
conservative, but in the end, I think that ended up costing them. And
yeah,
after a
I
couple
agree.
of possession changes, the Bengals were able to do enough to obviously, go down the field and score the winner. So, good game overall. Obviously, Bengals keeping themselves alive now. I think that's 4 in a row now they've won since dropping to 4-8 or whatever it was. So credit to them, but I think it would be quite funny as a Browns fan to if they make it this far all the way to the last day of the season and then don't make the playoffs. So they've just completely tanked their draft position for no reason. But hopefully that's
Mm.
what happens. I'm on hate to watch, guys. Okay.
That's why there's no better place to be. As someone who can empathise with being in that position for years, hater watches it
It's all I've
personally
got
better
at this
than
point. Hate to watch and first overall watch. It's all I've got.
this. Gonna sound like such a privileged thing to say, but there are times where I prefer being on hater watch because it feels like you're less emotionally invested in it. You can just have a
Mm.
bit of fun with it. Yeah, every snap at the moment's pure torture when
Oh yeah,
you're
yeah,
still
yeah.
fighting. Whereas
Yeah.
I kind of miss being on hate to watch at times.
Yeah, well, I say all this, and then whenever the Browns actually play meaningful games, I can't watch, and I feel sick, and it's disgusting, and I hate every moment of it. But I still would like to trade a few more of their moments in for some of these.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. I would rather feel sick
Yeah.
than fit. It's weird the way it works in sports, but that's put the Bengals within still in the fight for
Mm.
the playoff spots.
Yeah.
As has been said, if they win next week and Denver and Miami both lose, they are into the playoffs. They still have a chance. So it's that whole Dumb and Dumber. So you're telling me there's a chance?
Mm.
Mm.
And
Um,
I'll tell you what, I think a lot of teams in the in the AFC are going to be hoping that they don't make it. Because that Bengals team, if they get hot,
Bengals.
they get hot
Yeah.
in any game. They got Joe Burrow and T Higgins and Jamar Chase. They can beat anyone.
They can.
So I think a lot of teams are probably going to be watching next week and rooting for the Broncos or the Dolphins over the Bengals.
The thing is,
You're on mute.
you gone really quiet.
Okay. But yeah, obviously, if you don't want to play against that offense that can put
No.
up 600 yards any given day. Joe Burrow, if had a few more wins, would be right in there with the MVP discussion with Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen. So yeah, I think a lot of teams are going to be rooting for them not to make it.
Yeah. What are you saying then? Sorry, Tom, you cut out for us.
oh, I think I'm back. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. I don't know. I lost my train of thought because I just got knocked out of connection.
No, no worries. Well, the thing for me is always as you'll know as well. We'll all know it's kind of when you get hot.
Mm.
They have got hot in December and stayed hot throughout
Mm.
December, and
Yeah.
that if you can make your way into the playoffs, maybe they should have got hot the week before on the 1st of December or on as of the bye week. The 1-4, the 4-1 coming out of the bye week. And if they'd have beat the Steelers in that 44-38 game, you're talking about a potentially completely different scenario and then coming in off the back of 6 wins or potentially 6 wins in a row. If you're getting hot, if you are really hot when you get into the playoffs, similar to what you're saying there, Rolly, that's the worst team to face because everything is going in their direction at that point. All the momentum's in their favor, and they're the teams that, yeah, like you say, you don't want to play them.
Yeah, it's what they've done. It's what they've done in the year, in their AFC Championship and Super Bowl run. Those years as well, they started off slow and then they were able to go on a run towards the end of the year, entered the playoffs really hot and kept that going. Unfortunately, this year it might just be that that bad start was too bad for them to overcome, and might be what keeps them out this year. But as I said, yeah, I'm sure a lot of teams are going to be hoping that they don't make it,
Yeah.
and so
What's
will
it?
I.
Oh, definitely. But yeah, it's a little bit too little, too late, unfortunately, if that's the case. But like I say, but if one of those, like I say, could be that Steelers game there that was 44-38, but even with looking at you there, Tom, if that 25-26 game, so 1 point, if that just the one field goal doesn't go in, a lot of these games are based on the against the Ravens 35-34 that they lost, a couple
Yeah.
of 1 point games, not
Yeah.
even one score game, 1 point games that if they just go the other way, and it's like I say, just potentially a little bit too little, too late. But if they do come out of it in the playoffs, they
They're like the
will.
opposite of the Chiefs. They score 30 points in every game, but they lose.
Coming for my Chiefs again, Ollie. Come on, man.
I mean, he kind of said so he said they're the opposite because they lose. So I'd take whatever you can find in there as a compliment and just go with
Okay.
it. Um, Also in the AFC title games, we had just we'll get onto you here now, Ollie, sadly. But the Dolphins continued to have to stay in that race beat the Browns 20-3.
Yep. Snoop
Browns
Huntley
giving
keep
up.
Snoop Huntley keeping him alive. Browns playing DTR because no other reason other than that they're clearly tanking. Um, they they ran a draw play on like third and goal from like the 8th yard line in like the second quarter, and at that point I was like, you are so obviously not trying to win this game. Like I said, I mean the results that happened obviously before we were on the 9 p.m. game. This was originally going to be a prime time game, Sunday night game. Good thing they flexed it out because DTR versus Snoop Huntley on prime time would have been a painful watch for a lot of people in the rain, especially. But no, of course, obviously the results that happened before with New York winning and the Raiders winning and a few other games meant that the Browns, would potentially could have had the worst record in the NFL after this game and had a top three pick. And so at that point, why win the game? To be honest, I'm not. I don't. I'm not for tanking in terms of like the traditional tanking of like let's just tank this season because this person's waiting next year, like Arch Manning's waiting next year, so let's just tank the season. But when it comes down to the final few games and the difference is what having 4 wins and the 10th pick or having 3 wins in the first pick, why win that game? So yeah, it's not that they gave up per se. I mean, the defense was as always good in this game. It was just a classic Browns game where defense plays well, but the offense is just that bad that they probably would have been more productive if they just spiked the ball on every play. So is what it is. It's not that I think that they tried to lose, but I don't think they particularly tried to win.
Yeah. They dug a bit into the playbook. So just say, well, what does and what doesn't work. Yeah, experimented a little bit, see if it works, see if it don't. I like to look at it that kind of way.
Yeah,
So it's not tanking, it's experimenting that
it's
goes
it's
wrong.
it's just making double sure one thing that I already knew, which is that DTR is not very good.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
We just
exactly.
had to triple check.
Exactly. Sometimes you've got to. The other two where he was bad, where it could have been a fluke, but the third
Exactly.
time, so and sometimes it just takes a little bit of time to just get something to click.
And like, why was Jameis like not active for this game? It definitely wasn't because they were, hoping that if he did go out, that they didn't have to bring someone in that was better. So that's definitely not the case. So
Exactly. Also in the AFC playoff run, there was well, I think we kind of have to look at a couple of games that we could look at. I'll look at this one first. I'm look Ravens Texans.
yep,
Jesus, how bad are the Texans?
they're so bad. They're so bad. Like they're so lucky that their division is also really bad because, as I said earlier, like they're the only other team other than the Steelers where you're like they shouldn't even probably be in the playoffs. They are like the Bengals are a better team than the Texans and deserve to be in the playoffs arguably more. Well, they don't because they didn't do enough to make the playoffs. But you know what I mean? Like you'd be far more scared to play the Bengals in the playoffs than you would the 4 seeds Texans who are going to have a home game. Yeah, they're bad. They're just. I mean, don't get me wrong. The injuries that they've obviously suffered at wide receiver, especially, have not helped. But even when those guys were there, they weren't great. They weren't, the kind of steamrolling team that everyone thought they would be. I say everyone, not. I don't think any of us here actually kind of jumped on the bandwagon. But what the media trains like in the NFL, you get one good team with a young quarterback one year, then everyone wants to put them as the Super Bowl favorites for the next year. I don't think any of us quite jumped on that train, and I think we've been proved right. They're going to make the playoffs with what 9 or 10 9 or 10 wins and lose in the first round. So sorry, my throat's just suddenly started throwing up. But obviously on the Ravens side, just Lamar Jackson carrying on his MVP campaign. Him and Josh Allen, it probably will be Josh Allen just based on the fact that he's not won it before and the kind of storylines that go around it. But at this point, I don't think you could argue it between either of them. They've both been far and above the best two quarterbacks, not just in the AFC, but in the NFL, in
Yep.
my opinion. And the Browns could have had either of them.
You won't. I can't find an argument there for me. Can't find an argument there. Tom, did you get much of this Ravens Texans game?
Yeah, I watched it. I did, but I kind of watched it reluctantly because I was enjoying it. I really was because I was wanted to see how Mark Andrews would do because I had him. I'm in a fantasy championship, and then I want him to play well, obviously. And then he was doing nothing, and then I basically switched the TV on from when Lamar had a ridiculous play and threw it to him and he ran it. It was like a 67-yard gain. Like it was a 67-yard play, I think it was. Like that was so impressive. And I was like, oh, okay, surely they're gonna get him a touchdown on this drive, and then they do. Like, and then from then on, I was like, oh, this game, well, not even the Texans were not playing well in this game, obviously. Their defense played well. For it to be, even what it was, like honestly, like they were that bad offensively. Um, but the Ravens and Lamar Jackson, and not that many pass attempts and stuff, just absolutely cooked the Texans. He had a beautiful touchdown run. He had, improvising when he's on the run, trying to find someone in the end zone. He finds Isaiah Likely. Like the guy is just playing quarterback at just a truly elite level. And anyone that says, oh yeah, Michael Vick, whoever, mate. The guy is like, surpassed Michael Vick like a long time ago, and he's just so
Not
good.
even close. It's not even remotely close. He's now
Literally,
passed. He's now passed him for the all-time rushing yards by a quarterback as well. It's not even close. It's just hilarious to think back to 2018 when some scouts suggested he should be a wide receiver.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah, 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 yeah,
he
yeah,
is
yeah.
just an absolute joy to watch. It's just unfortunate for me because it hurts me to watch him every time because he's the quarterback that I wanted in 2018. So
Yeah, 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 yeah.
painful stuff. But Ravens look like they're. I mean, God, but everyone forgets they started the season like 2-4, and they're
Yeah,
now what 11-5.
Yep.
Looking like along with the Bills, probably the only two teams looking like they can threaten the Chiefs. So just continues his MVP campaign, and the Ravens continue to steam on.
Yeah, definitely.
exactly. And that sets up. So who is it, by the way? Sorry, let me just double check here. So the Ravens now have the Browns next week, and the Steelers and the Bengals. In a The Steelers Bengals one. Well, obviously the Steelers are already in, but Steelers think that they're playing for a title, division title. The only thing I'd say there though is, who are one of those losses to the Ravens have got?
The
The
Browns,
Cleveland
Steelers.
Browns.
they ain't losing this one.
No, I know,
They're
but
18.5 point favorites right now, which is the biggest
I
line
know,
I've
but the last
I've
time
ever
you said
seen.
that, Ollie, and they did, they still
Yeah, but
somehow won
that's
that.
when the Browns weren't trying to lose. The
Mm,
Brown
mm.
the Browns have a potential number one pick at play here. I cannot see any scenario. I mean, they haven't even committed to DTR. We're probably going to get a Bailey Zappi game. So I know we've beaten them before, and the wins that we do have this year have been quite. I mean, we beat the Steelers as well, um, but no, I cannot see it happening. I think the Steelers are probably going to have the same line of thinking. Yes, they'll obviously play to win this game, but I think they won't be too. I mean, actually, no. Hold on a minute. Yeah, the Browns played before the Steelers on Saturday, don't they? So because the Browns have been given the Saturday game. Those two games, Fletch, have been the two AFC North games
yeah,
have been
yeah.
given the Saturday on the final slate, and I think the Browns are first, so the Steelers will know going into their game whether or not they can win the division, which I don't like. They should have been at the
Mm.
same time
Yeah.
because of that.
Well, that's what they do for things like the Premier League, the World Cup, your final group stage games, your
Yeah,
final games that
it's
they're
all
all
at the
played at the
same
same
time.
time.
Yeah,
But then it's up to Mike Tomlin to shield everyone from finding out the result of that game, because the last thing you want to do is have your players going into that final game of the season
But
deflate. Oh well, we can't
if
make
the
it now. So
Steelers do win and the Ravens lose, do
the
they win
Steelers
the
win.
division then?
Yeah,
Damn.
on head to
Yeah.
head.
yeah.
Is that because they've beaten them this season?
It's one of the weird. It's one of the tiebreakers. I think the head-to-head record is the same, but then it
Yeah.
goes down to whatever the
Strength of
bloody
schedule or
yeah
something,
the
right?
next
Is
one is
it?
or whatever it is.
Stupid.
But it comes down to, it was just like I remember though a couple of years ago when it was the Lions, Packers, and Seahawks going for the final wild card spot in the NFC. If the
Mm,
Seahawks lost, we had a chance. If the Seahawks won, we were definitely out no matter what. Seahawks won, and then we went to play the Packers at 9-8 season. We went to play the Packers last game of the season, and as a fan, devastated because like, this game means fuck up. But do you know what? Actually, was the best part going in and
Mm.
ruining the Packers' day.
Well,
Because
that
if
was
they
it. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
the
they
yeah.
were in,
motivation of still keeping the Packers. That obviously, if you were both out at that point, yeah, it'd have been a lot harder to get motivated. But
but I don't know. There's always that little thing of just, especially if it's the division rival you hate the most,
well,
especially.
and that's it as well. Why would the Browns win this game, ruin their chance of getting the number one overall pick, and hand the Steelers the division? Not really
Mm.
something that I think many people in the building are going to be too keen on doing.
Exactly, exactly. There was very little else in terms of the AFC playoff picture. Oops, excuse me. The other than there was one other game that was the Chargers
Colt,
Patriots.
yeah,
Oh yeah,
Chargers obviously secured their spot, absolutely spanking the Patriots, and then the Colts lost. Obviously, they're officially out now, losing to the Giants in a game which was
How did they lose to the
hilarious.
Giants, man? Like that was. I mean, to be fair, Malik Neighbors had a monster game. I think he had two touchdowns, 171 yards. He had two really long like touchdowns as well. Like he was really good in this game.
Yep.
But like
yes.
still, like it's the Colts. I mean, you can't lose to the worst team in the league, arguably the worst team in the
When
league.
yeah,
Like
when
you can't do that.
you've got something on the line, they don't. They're the worst team in the league, and you go out and play that flat. I mean, obviously they went down big early, straight back into it slightly, but pretty much every time that they kind of got back into it, the Giants were able to pull away again. Obviously the kickoff return touchdown to start the second half, stretch the lead even more. And then yeah, obviously as a Browns fan, I was watching that and was quite happy with the result.
Oh, that was a brilliant return, by the way. That was a brilliant return. Um, it was quite funny. So obviously, old friend of the network, Sean, Giants fan, who was on with us for quite a while. Watching his reaction yesterday was funny because you like it. It's still an alien concept to me to watch your team winning and feel upset about it.
Mm.
Yeah,
I and
I can't do it while watching it. I can only like afterwards be like, okay, like, do you know what I
oh
mean?
yeah,
Yeah,
but I'm a much okay if you're in that top two those top two three spots and the difference probably especially in this draft though between a top two three pick and a seventh eighth pick
Mm.
is probably there are only a couple of real prime talents in this draft that
Yeah,
are
yeah. Yeah.
generational. It is a lot. So when you're losing that, potentially losing that, that's a lot. Um, but I'm still very much in. I just as a person, I'd rather go into the off season with some momentum. I'd
Mm.
rather some of those. I'd rather have Malik Neighbors hitting some form and really starting to feel his way through and getting more comfortable, clearly being more comfortable through the league. So, and I like the concept. I like people getting used to the concept of women. I mean that's nice too, but the concept of winning, I like that. Just people getting used to it in the building.
yeah,
Yeah.
So, but it was so what's that? 78 points across the game.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
yeah, good game.
Um, this was one. I say the only other one there was the Chargers. The Chargers are also just in, have not clinched, don't believe.
Yeah, they're plenty.
Oh no,
They have
they have that's what the X means. Um, they have clinched.
Xbox the spot.
X marks the
Um,
spot.
no, I'm looking at the GSIS version and it's got like a, it's
Mate,
like,
I got thrown off earlier. Did you look at the NFC one and you've got the Falcons that are in the standings below the Seahawks, but the
Mm.
Seahawks have the X, but obviously the Falcons don't. And I was like, wait, what? And then I was like, oh wait, yeah, because they can only get in by winning their division.
yeah. But I
Which the
did,
Seahawks, yeah, the Seahawks
Yeah, they're
got
eliminated.
eliminated yesterday when the Commanders won because
Yeah,
they needed
yeah.
yeah, they needed the Falcons to win that.
They've got a better record than the Falcons, but are actually out when the Falcons aren't.
Mm.
so
It would
Okay.
be a tragedy if the Falcons make the playoffs, to be honest. Like, I mean, they're just going to get boat raced.
They won't. I
Like,
mean, the Bucks are playing who? The Panthers at the
I
last
know,
game.
literally. I mean, the Bucks are playing so well right now as
No, they
well.
just
Like,
played the Panthers, didn't they? They're playing the
they're
Saints.
just such a better team, and they're
Um,
the team that you want to see in the playoffs. I don't want to see the Falcons in the playoffs. Much as I love Bijan.
yeah. So,
Well, I was
right.
thinking more of our friend Chapman that I'd love to see him in the playoffs. But don't worry, Tom. I'm
Well,
sure. Hopefully, he doesn't listen to that.
Well, no, of course, Chapman. Like, of course, for his mental health, I want him to, them to be in the playoffs. But
I don't think. I
like,
think even he wouldn't want it, Tom. To be honest,
no,
no,
I don't think it
I
does.
literally, honestly, I was watching this guy today who's like a Dolphins fan, and then he was literally saying like, why do I want to see my terrible team in the playoffs just to see them get absolutely dominated in the first round and then not actually learn anything? So, yeah.
So, let's say just as we got, because we'll get onto that in just 1 second, the NFC. With that in mind, say the Chargers, they've clinched their spot, and now there is one spot left with three teams who could claim it in the AFC: Denver, Miami, and Cincy. And just remind us again, Ollie, what's the scenario next week? Denver
so
winning in.
so Denver winning in. Miami need a Denver loss and them to win. And it doesn't matter if the Bengals win, as long as Miami win, they're in. And obviously, the Bengals need both teams to lose and them to win.
Yeah. So
Who are the
Miami get
Dolphins playing
in.
next week? Sorry to interrupt you, Fletch.
Right.
Don't actually know. Bengals have got the Steelers, who will be playing their starters. Broncos have got the Chiefs, who will probably be playing their backups. And then Miami, who have Miami got? I actually don't know. Probably is it a division game? Is it Jets?
It'll be
I
the
think it's
Yeah, it's
Jets.
Jets.
Jets. It's
Yeah, so that's a
Jets.
win. Let's be real.
Yeah, that was just disgusting. Yesterday they're disgusting.
Oh,
Japs.
I don't even want to. I don't think they deserve a mention. The Jets on just an absolutely miserable team, and that's me saying this as a Browns fan.
Um. So yeah, with that, and then if you go over just to the other side of the NFL, where someone will be playing. Well, let's face it, it's the Chiefs. One of these teams will be playing the Chiefs. Or probably. Well, actually, to be fair, I do like the Bills. I like the Bills this year, and I'm not I'm not a whole believer in storylines truly within the actual NFL. A lot of the storylines that we create are what they are. But also Josh Allen, Haley Steinfeld, the everything surrounding him this year. What great PR for him to go to the Super Bowl.
Hmm.
Just saying, the PR around it. Um, but the
Could his life get any more perfect?
Literally, he got what? He got engaged. He's just been absolutely
That's
dominating.
my
Like,
favorite. I think that's my favorite meme. If anyone's seen it, it's Josh Allen, and it's like, oh, look at me! I run around, I run over people and throw touchdowns, and I'm really good at football, and I'm engaged to Haley Seinfeld. Oh, look at me! Oh, it's just
yeah,
like
literally, I saw that.
I
That was
hate you.
um, but over on the other side of the NFL, we have. Wait, I'm going with there. They are. The number one seed still isn't claimed. The NFC North, the NFC South are still not claimed. I believe all of the white, like all seven teams that will be in the playoffs, well, apart from one, have been claimed now. All seven. The
Yeah, 6 spots have
only
been claimed.
undecided is that fourth, that who will be the winner of the NFC South.
Yeah,
yeah.
So realistically, there is not a lot
No.
to truly go through right now with the NFC, but we'll try and go through a couple of the games that were important. One of which, well, you go with the main one at the top. You go with right now the Vikings and Packers,
Mm.
27-25 to the Vikings. This sets up a blockbuster game that has been flexed next week to Sunday Night Football. We'll mention that one in a second. Thoughts on this one? As look, I turned this off not long into the third quarter, and as I officially declared Jordan Love as the most overrated player to ever exist in the history of the sport. I want him to win one game, and he shits the bed.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how to follow that, but yeah, I mean, the Vikings deserve to win the game now. I mean, they absolutely dominated from the outset. Sam Darnold had, his most yardage total thrown in a game, in his career.
So
You know, he
good.
passed 35 touchdowns on the year. Like, I mean, the guy has been dealing. Um, and you know, they deserve to win this game. Jalen Naylor had a nice game. Obviously, you know, Justin Jefferson didn't do too much in this game, but Jordan Addison was really good in this game and stuff like that. So it was I mean, Green Bay came back into it towards the end, but it was kind of a foregone conclusion that the Vikings were going to win this game because Green Bay could not get out of their own way. I'm pretty sure they like fumbled and you know they just struggled in this game.
Yeah, the game appears closer than what it was because of obviously Green Bay scoring right at the end. But as you said, the Vikings just continuing to steamroll. Sam Darnold is so good this year. I don't know how you let him enter free agency. That's a conversation, I suppose, for the off season. But
Yeah,
they've got some pretty. They always say that it's never a difficult. What's the saying? Obviously, I can't remember what the saying is, but it's not difficult when you've got two good quarterbacks. But it's actually the opposite, of that isn't it? But obviously, when they drafted McCarthy this year,
mm.
Sam Darnold was obviously the idea was to be a filler, and he's not just been a filler. He's been one of the best quarterbacks in the league. So
Yeah.
I don't really
Literally.
know how you let him enter free agency. Um, if you're the Vikings, especially if they can go and win a couple of playoff games as well. Fletch so obviously the Lions still have to play a game tonight.
Yeah.
If you lose, does that not affect next week? Does it not matter even if you lose? The winner next week wins the division and the one seed.
Yeah. So we'd go to 13-3 again. Minnesota will go to 14-2. If we win, both of us on 14-3.
Yeah,
Oh, we beat Philly quite comfortably in strength of victory, no matter what.
yeah,
Anyway, we also, on whatever metric you want to look at, we'd have we'd have beat Minnesota twice, head
yeah,
to
yeah,
head in
yeah,
our
yeah, cool.
favor.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
But then strength of victory and strength of schedule.
I, I think Minnesota could fall to the third seed if Philly win. Yeah, because they got a lower strength of schedule, so I think they could fall to the third seed. I know I'm stupid. Of course I am. They wouldn't win the division, so they'd be the fifth seed. Blah.
Yeah. Um, they'd
Normal.
quite comfortably be whoever loses will get the top spot
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Top seed
thingy. But
yeah. That's a massive game, man. Can't wait for that one.
it just means that no matter what, next week everything rides on next week.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Gonna be a good game. What what what
Um,
what time's that game? What did that get in the final week slot?
that'll be Sunday night football.
Is it Sunday night? So
It's just been flexed.
probably won't stay up for that then.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
I I what I have to, don't I?
I was hoping it was going to be one of those 9:25 ones, like
Yeah,
the
same.
third one in 9:25,
Or
so
the
I could actually
Saturday
watch
game.
the
That'd
game.
have been even better.
Yeah, that would have been even better, but oh well. They want to make the most out of it, don't they, to get it in prime time, which is fair enough. I mean, I understand why. It's just it's a shame for us who just want
Yeah,
to watch it early and go to bed
Yeah,
and actually work the next day.
yeah,
it's one of them. But I also think about it as like two things ride on this: the division and the number one seed ride on
Hmm.
this one game. Because if the Lions win tonight, Philly are out of it. Then
Yeah.
nothing Philly can do because all going to be based on who can win that. So
Yeah, very true.
So
it
Saquon's hoping that the Lions lose tonight then.
I think he's got to be because that
Keep
at
himself
least.
in it.
But to be fair as well, though, I think Philly are essentially out of it now already.
I think, yeah, I don't think they can make because
I
they
don't think
Um,
they
they
can be the
can't get the
number
number
one
one seed.
seed. I don't know though. Maybe they can. I
No, they
don't know
can't.
no,
The,
because
they
the strength
can't
of schedule, they can't.
because if the Lions lose tonight and Minnesota win next week, sorry,
And it's
and the Lions win next week,
yeah,
what are the Eagles?
and
Are they
Philly win next
13 and
week,
2?
13-3.
13-3. So everyone
13
would
and
be
3.
on. The Lions would be on. Everyone would be on 14-3. No matter what, Philly can't come out of that because they don't
Yeah,
have head to
Mm,
heads right now. I would say, well, either way, they don't have the head to heads on either the Lions win on all those metrics out of
yeah, they
everybody.
can't. They're,
Uh,
they're, they're stuck as a number two seed. It's
yeah.
only between if the Vikings or the Lions can get the number one. So Saquon, if he does play, it will be in a meaningless game. So we'll have to see.
Yeah, true.
Um, so that was, and with that, obviously, then you've got, well, Green Bay have already got their playoff berth sorted. The most interesting part of all of this, and is the ones that haven't been claimed yet. So it's the NFC South and the NFC West are obviously by far the most intriguing games within this. So you had, where have they gone? Where have they gone? The Buccaneers blew out the Panthers yesterday,
Yep.
and that just end of story. They won. The Falcons, given the matchup that the Bucks have next week when they have the Aints, they are going to win that one.
Mm.
Yeah, the Falcons had to win that
They
game
had
against
to
the
win to
Commanders.
had to win against the Commanders. Did not come away with it. Did any of you
They
catch much of?
almost
I know
they
you were watching the
almost did
highlights
though.
anyway.
I mean,
I
it's
just I just saw him
crazy.
throw the ball over Bijan's head in the Wildcat in the red zone
Yes,
with a chance to tie the game in the last couple of minutes, and
literally
they
Peyton Manning style. Literally just
yeah
throws it over the
threw it
thing,
over
and
his
then
head.
he.
Such a 22-yard loss, and obviously that was all she wrote. But
Mm.
yeah,
But
they had
they
to
had
win
a
this
chance
game.
to win the game though as well. I mean, they had a chance at a game-winning field goal, with a 56-yarder with like as time expired, and it falls short. But like that's because Young Wei Koo's not actually there as well. Like he's on IR. I think he got injured or whatever. So they got the backup kicker out there trying to kick them, you know, a thing to win the division more or less, or like line themselves up to win the division, and they couldn't do it, and then you know they choked their way. But Commanders played really well in this game as well. You know, Zach Ertz had 2 touchdowns. Um, you know, Jaden Daniels. I mean, he rushed for like something like 160 yards. He had
Most
3 touchdowns. He was unbelievable in this game.
most rushing yards by a rookie quarterback in NFL history passes former Washington Redskin Robert Griffin III.
Wow, that's crazy.
It's eerily similar. You put them side by side. You know, two plays of them, running a keeper or something side by side, and it looks eerily similar. So let's just hope they don't end in the same
Yeah,
way.
no.
Both Heisman Trophy winners as well.
Yep,
Um,
and both play for crap schools.
and I am absolutely sure that Michael Penix Jr. will have a lovely career at ESPN for a while as well when he's done.
Yeah, I think so.
Um, but the only other game, and then I say you say the Falcons there, they shit the bed. The Rams beat the Cardinals
Yeah.
13-9.
Yes. But it wasn't, do you know, if you actually watch the highlights of the game, it wasn't a terrible game. There was like lots of yards and lots of, you know, good play, but like they just, you know, there wasn't a high scoring game like, at the same time. Like it was a good game for the Rams defense, that's for sure. I mean, Brandon Fisk and what you call him? What's the other one called again?
Jared Verse,
Yeah, Jared Verse, exactly. Yeah, yeah. Those guys both had big games.
probably
Uh,
defensive rookie of the year.
Yeah, and then Akil Witherspoon, I think it is. He picked off with like little time remaining to basically seal the game. Like that was really impressive. Um, so yeah, even though it was 13-9, like you think it was a boring game, but it was actually, you know, really good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I had red zone on for these games, and I'll be honest, it didn't really come through much on the red zone, so I didn't really see much of this game. But I think it is just worth giving the Rams a shout out because you know 6 weeks into this season they looked down and out, all the injuries they had, how bad they started. I don't think a lot of people would have thought they'd be in this position 10 weeks later, and have won the NFC West. So credit to them, and yeah, respect to Sean McVay, just proving why he's one of the best coaches in the league, being able to win no matter it seems who's out there.
Yeah. It's one of those where, well, the Cardinals desperately needed this win. They desperately, so I think they needed it just to be in with a shout. But actually, now looking at
No,
the
they
thing
were
of the
out
win,
last
they were
week, weren't
out.
they?
Yeah, yeah. Um, Nothing else really took on life in the excuse me in the NFC or really had much importance. The Eagles obviously did what they did to keep going, and that was about it. The only other game that I think we haven't mentioned today at all, well, two games. The Rams Cardinals one was on like Saturday night at ridiculous o'clock in the morning. So to be fair, with to that one, but I'll tell you one game that did not show up on Red Zone at all until once was oh, what's his name now? Uh shit, what's his name? We got Spencer Rattler
Yeah,
versus Aiden O'Connell.
yeah.
That didn't show up very much on Red Zone.
No. Well, I was the only reason I even knew this game was on was because as I mentioned, I was keeping up with a few of the the games that had
Yeah,
connotations on the Browns where they would pick, which was obviously the Titans Jags game, another game that was just not worth talking about or watching. And then obviously the Giants game and then this Raiders game. So I kept an eye on it just to see it. And obviously, yeah, I mean, it wasn't even close by the looks of it. The Raiders got up and then stayed up, and um, the Saints didn't even really put up a fight in that one.
no.
Just two bad teams going up against each other, and I think Raiders fans would have probably rather to lose that one, but they ended up coming with the win. And same with the Titans Jags. Um, I think if the Jags had lost that game, the Browns would have had no chance of getting the number one pick. It wouldn't have been possible because we would beat the Jags in every single metric, so
Yeah.
they would have the pick ahead of us. But they obviously win and go to 4 wins now, and that puts the Browns in play for the number one pick. So yeah, good result. All the results that needed to go the Browns' ways yesterday for a pick for the number one pick actually went their way. So you win some, you lose some, I suppose.
Yeah. Only one other game hasn't got a mention, and I feel like this needs the very quickest mention of them all. I watched the highlights of this. It might be the shortest highlight video I've ever seen in my life. I'm a big fan of defense. I like low scoring games. If you can walk away and say, do you know what? Two very good defenses stifled their offenses.
Oh,
This, however, was not that. This was just horrible from start to finish. Seahawks Bears 6-3 at the half and at full time. No points at all in the second half. That was just horrible.
I forgot that game even happened. To be honest with you.
Yeah.
It's quite fun. I don't know if you saw it, but the Seattle Mariners beat the Chicago White Sox
Yes.
6-3 twice this season in the baseball season. And then the football team decided to replicate it with the same score. Yeah, just an embarrassment of a day. I mean, the Bears are just waiting to get to that off season and do their the new head coach search. I mean, it's been an absolute train
Yeah.
wreck since that Hail Mary to the Commanders.
It really has.
And you look at where both teams have gone since then. You've
Yeah.
got one team that's gone like this, and oh, sorry, my background doesn't. One team that's gone like this, and then one team that's just gone like that. So
Yeah, yeah. One team's flew, the other team's nosedive.
yeah, yeah,
Um, it meant nothing for the Seahawks, who still can't go into the playoffs, and the
yeah.
Bears. But my whole thing is, God, I just feel sorry for anyone who bought a ticket.
Yeah.
I'd be going if your family member said Merry Christmas, here's an envelope, open it. We've got tickets to go to the Bears Seahawks game. Disown the family member.
Yeah, that was
I'm
Boxing
done
Day
with them.
night, wasn't
Yeah, yeah.
it? Yeah. So
Thursday night. Um, mm, we all know that Thursday night does not produce great football as a
no,
whole because of
no.
all the. Like I say, if you listen to this and you're someone you know and love gave you tickets to that Bears Seahawks game, I'd question whether you like they know and love you.
Yeah, we'll leave some numbers that you can ring in the description,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
something along the lines of helplines and stuff like that.
Tom, did you see anything of this Bears Seahawks game?
No, and I'm so glad I didn't stay up for it. I was thinking about doing it, and then I was like, I think I was just going to bed when they started. It was like no, it was like second quarter or something. And it was still 3-0, and I was like, yeah, this is not going to be a good game. I was like, there's no way I'm tuning in to watch this game. 6-3 is an absolute embarrassment. It's like it's so bad.
But you could have what? You could have stayed till half time. The score total would have tripled. gone to bed at half time and you wouldn't have missed anything then.
Mm.
Yeah, literally.
That's shameful. Shameful. So right, well, I think that's the place to go. I think we mentioned all the games, that's everything. All the important ones have definitely come through. Tom, you can rest next week. Easy.
Yes,
Watching football.
I can indeed.
Hoping that your team at least does whatever they can to keep the Bronco, your own division rival, out. But who cares? You've got next week off. You've got in 2 weeks off. Ollie, you stay on hate watch. I
I
will
got a number one. I got a number one pick. Keep my eyes out, boy.
exactly. You are very much so. We've got people at both sides of the NFL here,
Yeah,
but complete polar opposite sides. Then I don't. We might need to do periodic checks in on Chapman this week.
yeah, I think so.
Just
Yeah.
general checkups and catch ups, see if he's okay. Then I think Carl as well will be keep an eye on that on those picks with you, Ollie, and I've got
Mm,
Sam, who's just in his own little well, similar to Chapman, but probably feeling very different about it. Um,
In a good way.
and then I'll be over here with my heart in my ass, somehow not feeling happy that we're just in the playoffs.
yeah,
Um,
different now, mate. It's different now. You're up there
it's
with the big boys now. Can't just
it,
be happy for making it.
I know, yeah. I want to be grateful. No, you get the position though. Like I want to just be grateful because the shit that we've seen, you want to
Yeah,
just be grateful for being there, but also like yeah, just being here is different. Um, with that in mind, look, today, the day of release of this episode, and well, tomorrow will be today's New Year's Eve. Tomorrow will be New Year's Day as of release of the episode. So just wanted to. Chapman normally brings you a little question forward, so I've got a little one for you. With it being New Year, a lot of people New Year's resolutions. I'm not a big fan of them myself, but I've had a little think about it here right now. What would if your team, so for you, Tom, the Chiefs, for you, Ollie, the Browns, if you had one New Year's resolution for your team to bring forward, what would it be and why? I did give you an inkling that this was the question gonna pop up. Have either of you had much thought on it?
I went to the toilet when you said it, so I actually didn't hear.
Right.
Um, so Tom, you can go first.
I would say for the Chiefs, do you say a New Year's resolution or something you want to happen in the new year?
That's
Resolution.
a resolution. Like, yeah,
So like something be taken away.
not
No, a New
necessarily.
Year's resolution just means something to work. You know what I mean? Something you can improve yourself on, or something you
Oh,
can
okay.
get
Yeah.
better.
Okay. I would say, yeah, the Chiefs need a new left tackle. So
Ah,
just give us tackle help, please.
I thought you were going to say score 30 points in a game.
No. We can win these ugly games, man. I don't mind.
It's the elusive 31 that they need.
I
Is
know.
the 31? They need to get the over on 30.5 at
Yeah.
one point. What about you, Ollie?
I mean, come on. Like, everything, literally everything. Get a certain quarterback off my team, even though that's not possible till next year, and I know that, so that's not going to happen till after next year.
So you just paying him next year to sit around?
Yeah, he's going to be getting paid to sit around next year.
Um,
Yeah,
Haven't you just restructured his deal though?
yeah. That's why. So you restructured it. They restructured him. It gives you a little bit more flexibility next year and the year after. You cut him. You designate him June 1st after next season, and it makes it a little bit easier. I mean, luckily the Browns spend around 50 million more in cash. That's important. I say cash because cash is a completely different thing to cap in the NFL. And obviously, by doing that, it means that they can afford to pay Watson to sit at home next year and it not be they're
Yeah.
still spending the average on whatever team is out there playing. But no, so let's not go too much into the Browns disasters. So my resolution would probably my biggest resolution. I don't know. Uh, I'll keep it on brand. Give me a left tackle as well.
I was gonna
I
say
need
that
a
I
left
like.
tackle. I need this whole run game, this whole offensive line, but a left tackle will start. We'll start with that.
I do like the fact though the way you came in though. You were coming in with all the New Year's, like the whole I'm gonna quit smoking and I'm gonna
Yeah,
quit drinking and
yeah,
I'm gonna go to the gym more and I'm gonna eat more salads. I'm gonna
yeah.
do all like
And
all the New
just
Year's
like what
resolutions.
happens with people, we I probably won't achieve many of them. So
Yeah, be out the window
yeah, by about
by
March.
playoffs, by playoffs, by the draft because what
Mm.
if
Well,
you
when I've got that number one overall pick, mate, that we trade back, that's gonna be lovely.
um I say for the Lions it would probably be everything's gonna. I feel like everything's gonna change this off season. Promote from and I think for me the New Year's resolution I would like my team to do is promote from within with whatever happens. So, where chances are we're looking at our offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator leaving this off season. I don't want to do that whole thing of going in and getting someone new. I want to promote from within. I know kind of who I want on defense, kind of who you want to see on offense. And so ensuring that the culture, the general idea and scheme stay the same. And it's someone that, like, so that would be mine. Um, is that a right way to word it for a resolution? Acknowledge those closest to you appropriately would be probably the resolution-y way of wording it.
Yeah.
But with that in mind, gents, have a lovely new year. And I'll see you next year, basically.
Yeah,
I was
Yes.
that's
my
all right. Knee slap for that one.
yeah, well, my daughter got sick of it yesterday and when she was
Yeah,
leaving. And I'm going, I'll see you next year. She goes, Daddy, shut up.
it's not funny. It's next week.
Yeah. Um well, to be fair, I did say it at one point as she was leaving, and she looks at her mum and she just goes, "You've been saying that all day. I'm done with it now."
Can I just say one thing before I leave, before I forget to mention it? I'd be devastated with myself if I didn't. I think Tom would be the same. I just want to wish a massive, massive happy 40th birthday to the GOAT himself, LeBron James. I know it's the other American sport, and this is an NFL podcast, but some things just transcend sports themselves, and LeBron James turning 40 years old is one of them. So happy birthday to the GOAT.
Very true.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. We're all here for it. Like I say, some things transcend. Um, some things just transcend the sporting barriers. I mean, I'm the same. I transcend. Oh no, I'm joking. No, appreciate it, gents. Have a lovely new year, and I will see you next week for the penultimate
Yeah.
season review. See you next week.
See you next week.